Should you buy a Mavic Air? There are many options out there, and with the soon to be available Mavic Pro 2 and the Mavic 2 Zoom that are supposedly going to be a lot pricier, combined with the fact that the current Mavic Pro will be end of life, this will position the Mavic Air still as a really good budget drone from DJI. This video will go through 15 things that you need to know before you decide to spend your hard-earned money to buy the Mavic Air. But before we get to that, let's roll that intro. It's so nice to see you. If you want to improve your drone video skills, then consider subscribing to my weekly tips, tests and tutorials. I've been using the Mavic Air a lot since I got it back in February 2018. I've used it both as a casual flyer but also for professional tasks. This is my go-to drone for various reasons. Is it perfect? Probably not. But it's still one of the best options out there. You get a lot of drone for your money. These are the 15 things that you should know about the Mavic Air, covering the good as well as the bad. When you buy the Mavic Air, you will get one battery unless you get the Fly More combo where you get 3. But with one single battery, this is simply not enough. You only get around 15 to 18 minutes of flight time, and that won't take you very far. So I would highly recommend to go for the Fly More combo and maybe add an additional 1 or 2 batteries. With Mavic Air, they have excluded the waypoints, and this is really a shame because this was a really useful feature if you had to fly missions for clients where you had to repeat the flight path. I'm really missing that part. That was an essential part of the Mavic Pro package. Luckily, there's a way around it. You can use the apps like Litchi to enable waypoints for your Mavic Air. One of the really big issues with the Mavic Air is the connection between the remote and the drone. If you are in the US and run under FCC, you should be good for the most part. But when you're in Europe, the broadcasting power, especially for 5.8 GHz, is turned down to a level that makes the connection more or less useless. If you're a casual flyer that mostly flies outside the cities, you would likely not see much of a difference because the drone will run 2.4 GHz, which is a pretty okay stable connection. But when you get inside the cities, you can run into problems when it's switched to 5.8 GHz that will make it almost impossible to have a stable connection to the drone. Despite the Mavic Air is handling wind quite well, I'm actually very surprised how well it stacks up against a strong wind. You can't say the same about the gimbal. I've been in situations where the gimbal has actually been blown out of leveling. This is not a big issue, but it's still pretty annoying when you try to capture that perfect shot. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of sense that the Mavic Air is really sensitive to magnetic interference. I very often get the message that I need to calibrate the compass because of some sort of external interference. You should be careful not to fall for this, because if you start to calibrate the drone according to the external interference, you might end up with a drone that acts all crazy when it gets in the air. It's a much better solution to move away from your location, fire up the drone and see if the message is still there. Now to one of the things that I really like about the Mavic Air, and that's the camera. The camera is absolutely brilliant, and the quality of video you can capture with this small sensor is out of this world. I've actually been in situations where production companies have contacted me after seeing some of my YouTube stuff and asked me to go and do jobs for them. When they hear that I only fly the Mavic Air, they sort of declined to have me help them because they were searching for something bigger. But it's still amazing that you can fool professionals to think that the quality out of a Mavic Air is close to production value. You won't be disappointed with the camera quality. No sensors on the side of the drone. We kind of know that when we buy the drone, but still when you use some of these automated flight modes where you fly sideways, there's still a high risk that you will collide with something if you're not careful. So this is really something that I miss. I don't think I will ever get used to that they position the power switch in the bottom of the drone. This is a very inconvenient and unhandy position. You know that I like to use filters with my Mavic Air, and actually the filters are mounted through a threaded solution which makes them sit nice and secure. This is a really good solution, and I hope they adapt that for future drones. It's pretty smart they have included 8 GB of internal storage. This is sort of an external buffer that have saved me more than once. One of the most serious issues with the Mavic Air is noise from the props. It seems because they're spinning with such high RPMs that they're generating a high-pitched sound that annoys the surroundings. I've been in situations where people approached me and saying and complaining about the drone being noisy. This is something I never experienced before with some of my other DJI products. This is something that you really need to be aware of, because this can cause some unwanted negative reactions from people around you. The camera is really brilliant at taking pictures, and there's several options to do this, but especially the AEB function or the auto exposure bracketing is brilliant. That will allow you to take several pictures at different exposure levels and then merge them afterwards in third-party software into a high dynamic range picture. You can get some really stunning results with that. You can see some samples of this on my Instagram profile that can be found through a link in the description below. With APAS and general obstacle avoidance, DJI is light years ahead of competition. These are features that you would really appreciate when you start using your drone. Especially if you're new to the hobby, you would benefit a lot from having this obstacle avoidance system enabled. And with APAS, you can actually dodge obstacles. So if you're flying towards a tree or something, it will actually go around the tree when APAS is enabled. So that's pretty smart. One of the things that I really like with the Mavic Air is how small and compact it is. It fits so nicely in your backpack and it is so easy to take it with you anywhere. And you know what they say, the best camera is the one that you have on you, or with you, or whatever it is that they say. This is probably why it's my go-to drone and will be for a while. One thing that you really appreciate with the Mavic Air is that it's built like a tank. It will stand for a lot of abuse. Of course you can destroy it if you drop it from 100 meters out of the sky. Nothing can withstand that. In general, you have to submit it to a lot of abuse to destroy it. These are the 15 things that I either like or dislike. You might have picked up something else that you miss or dislike. Then feel free to share it in the comment section below, or head over to the Tech Drone Media Facebook group and let's discuss it there. Link in the description below. Would I still buy the Mavic Air with the Mavic 2 around? That's probably a yes. At least I've decided to keep my Mavic Air for now, regardless if I buy the Mavic Pro 2 or not. The Mavic Air is an awesome drone where you get a lot of value for your money. I would say the two biggest issues with this drone in daily use is the connectivity and the general noise that it makes. The connectivity issue can be solved by forcing the drone into FCC mode. I actually made a video about this, and you can watch this video through this card. Regarding the drone noise, one could hope that DJI would release a low noise prop like they did with the Mavic Pro and Mavic Pro Platinum. We always strive to get the newest and the best, but you have to remember one thing, that the Mavic Air is a mature product now. There's no guarantee the new releases from DJI will be. And one important thing that people seem to forget when they talk about these drones and how expensive they are, is that DJI products actually have a very high resale value. So your money is not lost if you go out and buy a Mavic Air right now while you wait for other products to mature. You can get quite good money for your used DJI product if you have treated it well. If you decided to buy a Mavic Air, I have left a link in the description below to the DJI store. With the Mavic Air 2 coming out or already released when you see this video, I would expect that the prices have changed on the DJI website for the Mavic Air 2. So it's definitely worth to check it out. Do you know one of the best ways to handle your Mavic Air is actually to hand launch and hand land the drone? This might sound dangerous, but I actually made a video about this that shows you how this can be done in a safe way. You can access this video through this card. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.